This video will lead with a group of debate where three different types of actors held a debate on the question: how should a modern state be configured to ensure integration of a cultural diversity, equality, and equity? And based on the question, three different types of actors gave a thesis in their position on the matter. However, and as very good debate should be, each actor selects a position to favor or to against its thesis emphasized the beginning of the debate. So this video seeks to keep greater depth to the interests and motivations that each actor tells how to reach a proposal of this. That said, let's get started. We can observe at the beginning of the position of the state is something quite interesting, where it says that it's responsibility of the government represent indigenous groups and that will ensure that everyone has the same opportunity of equality. From the beginning, you can observe the lack of foundation since it can be only seen that by the side of the marginal group. However, it doesn't mention what kind of actions it can take or how it would help. And it is clear that indigenous groups are counter-arguments of this point, saying that even though the state has a treaty of San Andres, the problem is that this is not clear practice that are respect treatment. It's same mentioned at the beginning that it's not known the deals or ways that the state is going to carry out in the same way. The organization emphasized that despite the good intentions about the state has, they have not demonstrated compliance with human rights, being with laws only in word. The state doesn't have the obligation to fulfill everything to the letter. However, better laws could be implemented to preserve these rights, and the state did not mention it. The second thesis that we can observe is the indigenous groups, where their thesis indicates the following: that they have always been a minority in Mexico, which they always suffer from oppression, and the state must take measures to preserve culture. However, as the government does not provide this, they want to dedicate themselves to being an entity that operates autonomously from the government. The author of the Unite mentions that is completely in agreement, and he's already providing support to the indigenous communities through FLA. So this way, they can interact with the action plan for Mexico and can preserve their culture. However, he mentions a small detail, saying that they cannot operate completely autonomous because they have some traditions that violate the human rights and therefore are traditions that cannot continue. So they should work together with the government with some autonomy. In some way, the state mentions that it agrees with the opinion of indigenous groups, mentioning that communities should be taken in consideration to legislate and give them tools so that they can govern autonomously. Finally, the thesis of the third actor, which mentions that part of the UN, the integration of diversity and equity must be sought by the minority of the population, that in this case are the indigenous groups, and from them they must be given economic support, equitable conditions of life, and a place that they can express themselves and share their culture. For its part, the government counter argues that for this to happen, it must be specified how the support by the organization will be carried out, since there may be fraud or other conditions that prevent the organization from acting. On the other hand, the indigenous group indicates that they are in favor of the thesis, since in this mention, there are some cases that they prive the fundamental human rights, such as the media care, support of social programs, government care, and job opportunities. So the support of an organization of this caliber could be beneficial. After observing how the sectors were debated in this group video, I can conclude on the following. To solve all positions, the state should allow indigenous groups to create an autonomous entity that is capable of supporting indigenous groups to be able in a world with cultural diversity, equity, and equality. However, this must be worked together with the UN, specifically with the UNESCO group, which is a subsidiary of the UN in conjunction with the state of Mexico. So that is the way that the culture of indigenous people is protected without having to deprive the human rights of any person. And from last but not least, these are the references. Thanks for watching. See you later.